Hey everybody, I'm Pastor Eddie Day, Princeton, West Virginia. I had several dreams at the beginning of the year, and God spoke to me, and I need to get this out. I feel like I'm not being very obedient by holding on to this. I don't like to scare people, and I like to keep people in faith. I'm a big faith guy, and we either walk in faith or we walk in fear. So I try to promote faith, and I try to keep people's head on straight. But the Lord got on to me in His loving way and told me I needed to make this clear. I had a three-part dream, and I've had many dreams, but this one really, I knew that it was the Lord speaking to me. I didn't understand it as much. In my dream, my wife and I were in a restaurant eating, and at the end of the meal, we came up, and I handed the guy my credit card to pay for the meal. And he run it through, and he said, this card's no good. I said, sure it is. I know it is. I said, well, try this one. And I gave him another one, and he swiped it, and he said, sir, this card's no good either. And I said, well, I know I have money in my accounts. I know that it's good. And over to my right, there was another man arguing with the manager over the same thing. And then I noticed all through the restaurant, people were getting up and arguing with different waiters, and the manager said, just give me a minute. Let me make a phone call. So this guy goes over to a phone. And I'm real passionate, y'all. So if I start crying, it's just presence of God. But he went over to the phone, and he made this call. And he looked at me. And his face kind of dropped. And he mouthed these words to me. He said, financial collapse. Financial collapse. And then I went from that part of the dream over to another part. And I actually went in the house of someone that, a friend of mine, and they said, you got a lot of nerve coming in here. I said, excuse me? And they said, get out of my house. They run me off. And I went out, and I thought, what are they doing? It was so real. And I stuck my head back in. I said, what's wrong with y'all? I don't know what's going on. What you upset about? You have a lot of nerve coming in here after what you did. I said, what did I do? All of her accounts were under where they're supposed to be. She lost all of her money. And this lady had got some money in a death in the family. And she was angry at me because she thought that I had done it. And she said all of her money was gone out of her accounts.
Hi guys, my name is Julian Adkins, and my friends call me Jules. And I've made a lot of wrong turns in my life, but since 2018, I've gotten it right, and I've tried to make amends for all the things I've done wrong, all the wrong turns. Let's put it that way. And I've been getting close to God. I've been praying 3 times a day. I teach a Bible study. I read the Bible daily, even on weekends. But I had a prophetic dream, and I wanted to share it with you. But this dream, I think, that I just had is referring to what we're going through right now. So in my dream, I was looking up at heaven, and I saw this big round container, like a building, coming down. It was the size of a building. And I was looking up through the bottom of it, and I could see different things falling into it from the top. And I realized it was grain, and then it was spices and also herbs. And I could see they were filling up. And I noticed that there were some compartments in this round circle of a building. I saw the galvanized steel that it was made of. And the compartments were like a wedge, almost like, a piece of pie. So imagine a piece of pie, an apple pie, a round one, and imagine it being a building, and then the wedges were the compartments. And so I saw each of the compartments filling up with grain, spices, and herbs, like I said. And then I was transported up through the grain as it came down from heaven. into these 15 different compartments. And I don't know why, but there was definitely 15 different compartments. And they started filling up. And now I was looking down from the top of this huge round building with these 15 different compartments. And it dawned on me, this is a silo. This is a silo where they store grain or things like that, food. And so the silo, the compartments kept filling up, and they got to about 50% full. And then I noticed, I could hear that the silos the grain was starting to trickle, coming to an end. And finally I just, it was just like one final drop, boom, into one of the compartments. And the grain, and the herbs and the spices, they all dried up. And I just kind of looked around, and it was a pause. And then I heard a voice say, there's a famine coming.
I have had a vision that at some point in the future, there will be so many starving people coming out of Eastern Europe and walking into the West that Western Europe will say, we simply cannot handle them all. We simply cannot, and they will create barriers to allow in quotas because the number that they think that they can help. And there will be fundraisers going on. And I've seen myself in another dream at a fundraiser, and we see how terribly emaciated these people are. It's a terrible thing.
Personally, I am not a hothead who's going to, run to the store and try to grab a bunch of stuff and store in my house. I'm not like that at all. And God knows it. Everything that happened recently where people were going crazy over toilet papers, over food, I was not one of the people who were doing that. And my family, we weren't doing those type of things because God did not give me the warning to go do that. And you have to know, you have to be led by the Holy Spirit. But this morning, I heard in my spirit, I heard the voice of the Lord says, save like Joseph saved during the time of famine.
I was shown grains, and this voice said, I don't know if the voice was God or what, but it was said, there's going to be a shortage of grains. And there's going to be a shortage of grains this fall, and to start stocking up on grains. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe it was just a random dream, but maybe not.
How you interpret it. In the dream, the USA and the world will soon see 8 months of hardships and famine. During that time, mail and shipping was extremely restricted and difficult to ship anything. It wasn't as simple as mailing a letter or package as today is. The mailing and shipping was government or military run and seemed to be only for them. It had to have a certain stamp or identification on it when it shipped. If a person managed to get through the difficult hoops to get something mailed or shipped, it was at risk of not getting to the location it needed to be. All packages that looked to be suspicious of not being for government or military purposes were opened and confiscated if needed. Food was not as easy to get as going to the grocery store or buying it online from a retailer like Amazon, Walmart, or whatever your online grocery shopping choice is. The dream didn't include much more detail on food and groceries other than what you had prior to the restrictions is what you could keep. If you didn't have food stocked up, it was difficult to get it. What you could get would only last a day or two. You would go without food for many days to weeks at a time before being able to get more.
The clerk told me I had a buggy full of stuff, a basket full of stuff. And the person said, I'm sorry, sir, but you can only have 15 items per household. So I was like, what? 15 items per household? When I had a full buggy of stuff. So I was like, so what? So I got to put most of this stuff back or something, right? They said, yeah, you do. Because they said, even though you may have the money to purchase this, you can't buy all this because we have to make sure it's fair for all family members, like all families to be able to purchase. So we can't allow you to just go in here and buy all these products because the next family needs these products as well. And I was like, that's so crazy that we got this much of a shortage going on that we can't even purchase the stuff we want to purchase anymore. It's like you have to make an account for other people.
One dream I had was I was outside of a parking lot in a Kroger by my house.
there was cops at the front of a huge long line of people. And it was like not just like single file line, it was like crowds of people in a line. And I would guess there was like 100 people or more, like a crowded line of people who wanted to go in the store. I also have dreamed about a food shortage in America, something about a food shortage. I also dreamed of being inside of a Walmart type store. I think it was Walmart. And like mass amounts of aisle space were just empty. So, and I was like kind of astounded, like so much is gone. Like it's crazy.
I actually had these dreams back in July, and it seems like a lot of people are having these same kind of dreams, and I've been very nervous to share them because I thought, people might think I was crazy or weird, but who knows, they could be prophetic, and whenever I have the dream, these type of dreams, I remember everything. And it's pretty scary. Again, I'm not saying that this is like stuff that's really going to actually happen, but I do want to warn the people, just in case. So, the first dream that I had that was just very real, and I just remember waking up just terrified, was a dream with me and my sister, and we were in a grocery store. And I just remember there were, basically cops or guards all around, and they were, there was lines, and they were regulating, like everything. Like you can only have one of everything. Like for example, toilet paper. So, and the guards were like very, very strict and serious about everything. I was like, I just remember being really scared to be there. Like I thought something might happen to us just being out there, just getting toilet paper and a few things, and just things were very scarce, and again there were lines. So that was like one of the first dreams that I had, and I thought, okay, that's scary because it's different than what COVID. I know there was a lot lacking during COVID because everyone was buying toilet paper, but it was not the same. It was. There were guards, there were people, like it was terrifying.
We were in a car and we drove to this area and pulled up in this line, what seemed like to a McDonald's or a food place. I know they served food at this place that we pulled up, to the line that we pulled up in. And it was dark outside, and I was with my husband who was driving our car, and I was on the passenger side, and our kids were sitting in the back. And as we waited in this line, more and more people continued to come and join the line. This line became very long, and we all were in this line waiting for food. And we waited and waited and waited, but no food came. And the people began to complain, and they were still complaining, and now they were getting upset. Then a food truck came, and it looked like one of those big old stock trucks that have food on it. And this guy got off the truck. And as soon as he got off the truck, the people began to harass him. They harassed him so bad for food that he got back inside the truck as a shelter from the people because he didn't have any food on the truck. Then the crowd got even more mad and aggressive, and they were beating on a truck and rocking it back and forth.
And this time I see several thin women in the woods picking wild strawberries and eating them in a hurry and looking around all the time as they're eating. One woman gets up and starts running down a gravel road through the woods and goes into her house. She looks around and sees all the windows in her front room, and she thinks to herself that there's no way she can protect herself with all of the windows that are there. She turns around and picks up a towel and some silverware. She starts drying them and sets them in a cup. The dream changes again. I see a farmer in his mud room with his dog laying on the floor. The farmer looks at his dog, and the dog wags his tail. Then I see the farmer has a knife behind his back, and I see the dog get up to go out the door. I know the farmer's thoughts, and I know the dog's thoughts. The farmer is starving, and he's going to eat his dog, and the dog wants to try to get away.
In the dream, I was reading a book, and the book included information on history. It was like a history book saying what the the decade starting around 2020, 2021 was like. And I just read one page through this book, and that one page included that's kind of small print, so there's a lot of information on there, but it included the famines, the famine of the 8 months, approximately 8 months, and the difficulty getting groceries and food, and it included the mail, the restrictions on mail also.
Then I remember a second vision where I was literally walking through the grocery store, and I was screaming out, "We must share, we must share, we must share." And it was food shortages, like the shelves were half empty. And it was like you had to pick through things to really find something good to eat. And I just kept screaming, "We must share, we must share." And I was yelling it all throughout the store, walking around.
So buckle up. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Everybody thought everything was going to get better. Everything was going to change for the better. 2021 was going to get better. I didn't see that. I saw that everything got worse. Like, things just got worse. No one lived in their homes anymore. Like I was saying, all the Christians somehow managed to started getting like a group together where people would live together in like a school or buildings. They would turn it into like a living. But somehow I was living with all these people, all these Christians, and we had church. We had church almost every other day. We had church. Like, I remember sitting in a room where we were just talking about God and preaching and worshiping and reading the word. And we were literally discussing what was going on all over the world. We were discussing that. That was like the main topic, and people wanted to know. And like, everybody had some kind of chores, and everybody had some, it was like a community, like where we all just look out for one another, took care of one another, and everybody, we all love each other.
You are not alone, ever. He is with us, always. His word, his anointing, his angels of God are encamped round about us. We can't fall into fear. God did not give us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. And I'm not going to let my mind run wild through this, and I'm not going to fall into fear. Fear is an enemy. Fear has torment. So we're going to walk in faith. Right now in your life, I say this to my people a lot. You're either walking in faith or you're walking in fear. And if you are in fear, you're going to be tormented. Fear has torment. So we're going to stay in faith.